So something weird happened today because of a Fiverr notification. For a moment I actually thought I had a client who wanted my coaching services. And it made me realize something I did not expect. I think the biggest thing holding us back is not the fear of failure, but more the fear of how our life would look if things actually worked out. So I got the notification. First feeling I felt was excitement. A few moments later, anxiety took over. I started questioning everything. Do I really want to do this? Do I have everything ready? Can I do this? And so on. And it surprised me because I've been saying that I want a different life. I want to do this. I want to do the coaching and the whole YouTube thing. But in that moment, that didn't feel like a dream anymore. It felt like it was actually happening. And it's not a fear of failure, I think. It's more like fear of change. Because as long as something is an idea, it's just safe. You can plan everything, you can visualize and do whatever you want. But the moment it starts becoming real, you can't stay in that old version of you anymore. And now you got to show up, even though you don't feel ready. A lot of us say we want a different life, but as soon as that life comes close, we kind of feel resistance. Because it means that you actually have to put in the work before it shows up, but also after it shows up. And when it comes close, it forces us to let go of the old version. After a while, I went to see the message, and to my surprise and disappointment, it was gone. The account disappeared. I guess it was a scam message or something, and Fiverr took care of it, which is good, but at the same time, I felt a little bit disappointed. But not because I lost a client, but more because I kind of lost a part of the future I was envisioning. I already saw myself telling people, I got my first client, and then you log in just like that and the message is gone. But I realized at the same moment that nothing has really changed though. I still have the same goals, skills, dream, and same direction. And the only thing that changed was the story in my head. And I think that's where most of us get stuck. It's not really reality that affects you the most, but the meaning you give to the reality you're experiencing. Let's say for example you experience something that is negative and then your mind turns it into a conclusion about your whole future. But usually it's not that deep. It's just one moment. And today it reminded me of something simple. Building something authentic and real is not about avoiding disappointments. It's about continuing, experiencing and trying new stuff, even if your expectation doesn't match the reality in the current moment. Because if you can keep going, eventually your reality has to catch up. Moral of the story, for a brief moment, I experienced what it's like to actually feel to potentially have a client online. Was it in a way a bit disappointing when it turned out to be fake? Yes, but at the same time, I've experienced it and now I know what that feeling feels like. If I keep focusing on that, eventually my reality has to change and shift into the direction I want to go into. And before I end this video, I want to say this, man. Life is way too short. I'd rather try a million things and fail at each and every one of them than not trying at all. Can you imagine the regret you'll feel 10, 15, 20, or maybe even 30 years from now? And looking back and said, I missed a lot of opportunities because I was too afraid to take that shot. I refuse to live like that. I've had many, many chances that I let pass by, and that's why quitting on YouTube and quitting on finding what works for me when it comes to business is not an option. Never. Even if it takes me 10 more years, all the experiences I'm going to experience, things that haven't happened yet, I'm going to take those things, put it in my backpack, and continue on my journey. That is the only way you can succeed. People think everything should come easy. In a way, yes, if you do believe that everything is difficult to attain, you will have a very heavy life. But at the same time, know that things worth having, they demand work, they demand a different strategy than what you're doing now. Otherwise, you would have had those things. And I'm making this video for you, but I'm also making this video for myself. We can sit and complain that we want change, or we can actually get up, take an action. Even if it's one tiny step forward, it's better than nothing. Anyway, that's the video. If this made sense to you, that means you're probably in the same process as I am. I'm just documenting what this looks like in real life. And at first I felt ashamed because I was like, okay, I got disappointed by something that was fake. But I said, you know what? This is part of the journey, man. It's ups and downs. Things succeed, things fail. But it is what it is. And we got to stop being afraid of failing. Because if you're learning, are you actually failing? Think about that. Anyway, if you want to follow the journey, you know what to do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.